סביבי עליי.
Revelation. I have a feeling that because we're just singing.
I'll give you a more personal one later.
Okay. This is a prayer about intimacy, and that is very intimate.
Well, now you're in my neck of the woods, darling. Not on a Richard the Fifth.
And Joni!
Oh my God, you knew. Why did you think I was running up to you?
I only know you from the
Page
Zoom.
332.
I was there.
Gale, gale, gale.
Several times.
With the last paragraph, first line. Gale, gale, gale.
Please.
Ufros avivi alai.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Great job. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
All right, it's great to see you all. Great to be here tonight with our wonderful guest, Chazanit, who Cantor Adam is going to introduce in just a moment. But before he does, I want to invite you all to take a moment, turn to the people sitting around you, wish each other Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. I think it is. I hear it.
And I'm standing here with Noor and her father, Naeem. So Noor's going to be celebrating her bat mitzvah this Shabbat. And yeah, she's awesome. Let's hear it for Noor. Noor, how are you feeling? You feel good? You're excited? We're super excited to celebrate with you. So you can go ahead and have a seat. Cantor.
So, thank you everyone for being here. I want to introduce you to my colleague and friend, Chazan Basia Schechter. I'm just going to say we go way back. And when I first started getting really into Jewish music, Basia's music was some of the first that I encountered that I was like, wow, this is something else. And her music, her inspiration is drawn from her own personal background, which is from the Hasidic world. If you've ever traveled through Borough Park, you probably have walked through some of the places where she has walked as well. But she's also traveled across the world, taking in melodies and music, not just Jewish music, but certainly a lot of Jewish music from all of the different Jewish communities that you can imagine, and then music from communities that are not Jewish as well. And so she's incorporated a lot of that, and then also the teachings of some of the renewal movement, where she studied and became a chazan as well, although I think that's really just on paper. She really had all the goods long before that. So without any further ado, I'm just going to introduce you to Chazan Basia Schechter.
Wonderful. We're so excited that you're here. And I want to remind you all that after the service this evening, we're going to have the fourth and final conversation about prayer in this series. It surely won't be the final conversation about prayer that we ever have, but the final in this series of 4 that we're doing. So we'll gather in the atrium after services and talk about the experience tonight, which I know is going to be really special. So we'll begin on page
12. We're going to start on page 12 and go quickly to page 13. Lechu neranena l'Adonai, naria letzor yishenu. Shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai karpo shemo, basru miyom liyom yeshuato, sapru v'goyim kevodo, bechol ha'amim nivnotav, ki gadol Adonai, u'mulal me'od, norahu, al Elohim, ay lai lai, ki kol Elohei ha'amim, v'Adonai shamayim asa, od v'hadar לפניו, עוז ותפארת במקדשו. ילאי, לי, 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 השמיים,
ישמחו השמיים,
ישמחו השמיים,
השמיים,
ישמחו השמיים, ותגל הארץ. ישמחו השמיים,
השמיים,
ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ותגל הארץ. ירם הים, ירם הים, ירם הים ומלואו. ירם הים, ירם הים, ירם הים ומלואו. יעלו שרי וכל אשר בו, אז ירננו כל הצייר. לפני ארוני קיווה לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק, בימים באמונתו.
Page 8. Let's join together in this English reading. Page 8. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life.
Page 18.
Havul Adonai bnei Eliv, Havul Adonai, Kavod va'ozai, Havul Adonai kevod shemo, Havul Adonai be'avat kodesh, Kol Adonai al hamayim, el hakavodim. Shaber Adonai et azei halvanon vayarkidem kemo egel levanon v'Zion kemoven rehemim kol Adonai chotzei havotesh Kol Adonai Yachil Midbar Yachil Adonai Midbar Kadesh Kol Adonai Yechalel Ayalot Vayecheso Ye'aron Ulo Omer Kavod Yashav v'yishev Adonai melech le'olam Adonai od le'amo yiten Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom Lai 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 So I'm looking for the page for the next prayer, which is not, we just, we don't need those words.
Sometimes we don't need our prayer books.
It's really only 6 words. It comes from a poem called Ana B'Koach, which is supposed to be called a 42-word name of God. And in each of those lines, it invites us to really untie our tangles. Ana bekoach gedulas yimencha. With the strength of the right divine hand, could you please help us untie our tangles? So we take this moment to really just breathe and like put our shoulders down for a second. Maybe just find our seats. We find our silence. We find our rest. Find our transition from Shabbat to the rest, from the rest of the week to Shabbat. So let's take a deep breath. So I'm going to say a word and you repeat after me. Baruch.
Baruch.
Shem.
Shem.
Kevod.
Kivod.
Malchuto.
Malchuto.
Leolam.
Leolam.
Va'ed.
Va'ed.
These words are usually sung and said silently after the Shema, but loudly on Yom Kippur. And these are the last 6 words of this Ana Bekoach, untie tangle prayer. And this gives us the strength to really let that in, that work on us, and let our muscles really relax and let us take in this Shabbat. And those are the only 6 words of this prayer, so let's sing them together. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam 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 And now just one time with just the voices, no instruments. Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto, Leolam Vaed.
Before we continue, I've been asked to make an announcement. Somebody left their car running in the parking lot. It is a white Nissan with the license plate AGH something. Might want to turn it off.
Everyone close your eyes. And close your eyes, except if you have a white Nissan. And if you have a white Nissan, you can get up. There's no shame. Okay.
And there's no shortage of needing breath. So let's take another breath. A rabbi in the renewal movement named Shefa Gold, some of you may have heard her chant, some of her wisdom. She does something called love at the center, which is that she divides the Song of Songs, the Shir HaShirim, our prayer on desire, our lyrics, our words, our poetry, that really encourage us to come from a place of desire. And she divides the entire Megillah into a few verses a week. And she unpacks these verses. And in this week's verse, she says, if you find my love, this is a part of the story where the Shlomit, where the protagonist is lying in her bed and she's like desiring her love, and her love actually comes to the door and knocks. And instead of answering the door, she says, my robes are off. Should I answer? My feet are clean. Should I get them dirty? And he has his hand on the latch. And while her heart stirs and doesn't actually move, he thinks she's not there, so he goes away. And in that moment, she's frantic. She's full of what we call anxious attachment. And she runs out the door and she starts searching for him, asks everybody, where is my love? And the verse for this week is, if she asks the patrolman, she says, where is my love? And they beat her. And then she goes to her chorus of support, her women, her big chorus of women who support her, listen to her, and says, if you find my love, tell him I am in the fever of love. And this moment, the Lecha Dodi, we invite the bride, the Shabbat bride, to come meet that crazy, incredible, intense moment of marriage between the feminine and divine and the masculine and divine. And we say, they're going to meet right now. This is the most feverish moment that we could possibly imagine. And I think all of us have those times in our lives where we had the fever of love. Can you recall a moment? Just tap into that one moment of the feverishness, the crazy, wild feverishness of love. And that's the wild, crazy feverishness that happens in the fields, that the ecstatic Kabbalists in Tzfat, in Israel, tapped into in order to write this incredible, incredible poem prayer. The Lecha Dodi, come my beloved, let's, Lekrat Kala, my beloved bride, please, let's greet the face of the Shabbat, of the divine masculine, and together we will celebrate.
Page 20.
Lecha, lecha dodi, lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat lekabela, b'nei Shabbat lekabela. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה, לך לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, בראש מקדם לשמחה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לך לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לך לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ינה ינה ינה,
פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, יאללה יאללה יאללה, פני שבת נקבלה. Like la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה יאללה 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 פני שבת נקבלה יא יא אללה 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 יאללה לה 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 يلا لا 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 يا لا 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 يلا لا 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 يا لا 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 دون لا 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 פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה יאללה לה יאללה לה 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 פני שבת נקבלה יאללה לה 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 יאללה לה לה يلا لا 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 לך דודי לקראת כלה ינה 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 פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה יאללה 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 פני שבת נקבלה.
Please rise if it is your custom.
בואי ושלום עצרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה, בואי חלה.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, ינה ינה ינה,
פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יאללה יאללה יאללה, פני שבת נקבלה.
rise, page 28.
Beautiful melody. Ya ya da, ya da da ya 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 da, ya da da ya ya da, ya da da ya ya. Ha ya da, ya da da ya ya da 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 da.
Page 30. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening.
Adonai Tzvaot Shemo Echai v'kayam Tamid yimloch aleinu Le'olam Le'olam va'ed Baruch Atah Adonai Ha'ma'arif Ha'aravi.
Page 32.
And love could be standing up, love can be sitting down, whatever you prefer. You can love, and then when you love so much, you want a response. In this way, we do a call and response, Ahavat Olam. But sometimes love is not exactly like that. You might call, and there's, instead of a response, there's a running away. Just like in that poem of Shir HaShirim. And sometimes there's a panic and freak out attack, and sometimes it's a love back too much. Love is not an equal formula all the time. But there is this incredible Rabbah, this Olam, this place in the universe where we can tap into an unending, infinite love. And if we love with just this right little way that we feel the same love from the divine, we can give it unconditionally, and that makes the world go round.
אהבת עולם.
בית ישראל,
בית ישראל,
עמך אהבת,
עמך אהבת.
אהבת עולם,
אהבת עולם.
בית ישראל,
בית ישראל,
עמך אהבת,
עמך אהבת.
אהבת עולם,
אהבת עולם.
בית ישראל,
בית ישראל,
עמך אהבת,
עמך אהבת.
We are loved, loved, loved
by unending love and unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love.
Baruch,
Baruch
Atah Adonai,
atah Adonai,
Ohev Amo,
Ohev Amo,
Yisrael.
Yisrael.
Noor, come on up. Page 34.
Shema Yisrael,
Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Baruch Shem
Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated. Page 36.
Some of you may be wondering, what is this curious instrument I'm hearing that Chazan Schechter is playing? It's called a shruti box. And the shruti box is sort of like an accordion. It works on the same principle with a bellows, only the reeds play one droning note. And it's an instrument that has its origins on the Indian subcontinent. And we actually invited Basia to come tonight and play the shruti box because we knew that it was Noor's bat mitzvah and we're celebrating her heritage. And so this is for you, Noor.
And not only the Indian side of your heritage, but the Moroccan side of your heritage.
The Iraqi side.
The Iraqi, sorry, because the oud is very much on that side. This was all planned. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך
37.
ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך וקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות בית Shaite bam
B'shivtecha b'veitecha
B'shivtecha b'veitecha
U'v'lechtecha b'derech
U'v'lechtecha b'derech
U'v'shochbecha u'kumecha
U'v'shochbecha u'kumecha
Ukshartav
Al mezuzot beitecha U'visharecha
Emet 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 Emet
Page 39, at the top. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Page 40.
This liberation prayer is also one that we sing in call and response. So we're on 40 and listen to us and respond. Mi chamocha, mi
Chamocha
ba'elim Adonai,
Ba'elim Adonai
mi kamocha,
Mi Kamocha
nedar
Bakodesh Nedar Bakodesh
Nora, Tehilot,
Tehilot
Oseh, Malechutecha,
Malechutecha
Ra'u vanecha,
Ra'u vanecha
Bokei
Hayam Bokei Hayam
Lifnei Moshe
Miriam
Lifnei Moshe u'Miriam.
Ze'eli,
Ze'eli
Anu v'yameru,
Anu ve'ameru
Adonai imlo,
Adonai imlo
Leolam va'ed,
Leolam va'ed.
Yididai-dai-dai-dai-dai.
Page 42.
Page 42. We're going to start at the second line, the third line from the top.
ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך והושיענו ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך
Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, and for your name's sake, be our help. Shield us and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and our coming to life and to peace, evermore.
ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך והושיענו ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ברוך אתה אדוני הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל
ועל כל יושבי תבל ועל ירושלים.
Please rise. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. On page 46.
Adonai
שפתי תפתח
שפתי תפתח
ופי יגיד
ופי יגיד
תהילתך
תהילתך
Adonai, open up my lips,
open up my lips,
that my mouth may declare,
that my mouth may declare
your praise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu
Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע.
ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We continue in private meditation using the language on either side of the page or the language of your hearts. Standing or sitting as is your custom.
Pray now for loved ones, friends, family members, members of our community who are ill and in need of God's healing and peace. If you're praying for someone this evening and you'd like to share their name, I invite you to do so as my eyes meet yours. God be with all of them and bring them strength, comfort, and healing.
Healer of the broken-hearted, binder of their wounds, counter of uncountable stars. You know who they are. Counter of, healer of the broken-hearted, binder of our wounds, counter of uncountable stars. You know who we are. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Everyone close your books. All right, Shabbat Shalom all.
Shabbat
Shabbat
Shalom.
Shalom.
Thank you. And thank you, Cantors, for the inspiring music this evening. So we had a school board election this week in Great Neck. And what a fascinating thing that was to witness. Before moving here, honestly, and I don't know if I should admit this or not, but I will, but before moving here, I can't remember even knowing who was on the school board where I lived, let alone feeling a significant stake in the outcome. I'm guessing it was probably that way for many of you too in the not-so-distant past. But we live in a different time now, when absolutely everything in life is politicized and polarized. And sad and pathetic as that is, I guess it's not surprising that in our highly charged environment, the armies of red and blue would seek to conquer even the education of our children. And of course they would, because although we may not be accustomed to having blowout fights about what our kids should be learning in school, the education of children is an enterprise of the highest stakes. Because it's in school, more than any other environment, that children are formed as intellectual beings. School plays a central role in acculturating children into the values and aspirations of their community. At its best, school can be a venue for what the philosophers of the Enlightenment called Bildung, a German term meaning human self-cultivation mediated by worldly experience. As described by the scholar Ned Kurthoys, Bildung rejects an instrumental conception of education and instead embraces a dynamic process of self-formation that opens new vistas of knowledge and experience. It's about a well-rounded education of body and mind that develops personality and educates towards freedom rather than servile obeisance to social hierarchies. In the post-Enlightenment world of the 18th and 19th centuries, many German Jews, including the intellectual forefather of modern orthodoxy, Moses Mendelssohn, embraced Bildung as a philosophy because it valued curiosity, inclusion, and universalism. On the other hand, school at its worst can be a venue for rigid ideological indoctrination, as it was in Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union. Because the character and quality of our schools shape the future citizens of our community, the question at the heart of any debate about what children should be learning in school is ultimately, what kind of community do we aspire to be? It seems to me that this is what we were voting on this week. And it was such a tense election because there are drastically different views on this question among the residents of our community. Apart from the tenor of the campaign, which was excessively mean and personal, the most troubling issue to me was the impulse by some to ban or censor books that express ideas or deal with topics that they feel are inappropriate. I am deeply disturbed by this because whatever the topics of the books are, I am against censorship. I'm against it because I believe school should be a place where students are exposed to the vastness of human experience and the richness of ideas. In my view, it's not the job of schools to teach students what to think, but it is their job to teach students how to think. And in order to do that, they have to expose children to a maximal diversity of ideas and create an intellectual environment where they are encouraged to question and debate with their peers and teachers. We live in an infinitely complex and nuanced world, and our schools ought to be what the psychologist and author Adam Frank, that's not his name. Anyway, it's not his name. Adam, you guys will know it. He wrote the book Think Again. Anyway, Adam Grant calls them learning zones, where students feel free to experiment and to poke holes in one another's experiments in service of making them better, where they learn to recognize complexity as a signal of credibility. These learning zones should, as Grant puts it, favor content of sources that present many sides of an issue rather than just one or two. And children should be taught to fight our tendency to accept binaries by asking what additional perspectives are missing between the extremes. This is the kind of inquisitive, free-thinking, pluralistic community I, for one, want us to be. And book banning is antithetical to that vision. Those who would go down that path would not only compromise the intellectual and character formation of our children, but, in my view, they would also threaten the well-being of our society because, as Adam Grant puts it, polarization is reinforced by conformity. I'm grateful that the citizens of Great Neck Public Schools, the school district, voted against book banning and in favor of a pluralistic, open-minded approach to education in the spirit of Bildung. But we all know this is only a temporary stay. Not only will this fight likely reignite in the next school board election cycle, but I fear that broad global trends, much bigger than our little community here on Long Island, are working against our vision for an open, expansively thinking society of the future. These trends are being fueled not by the red team or the blue team, nor are they being fueled by human beings at all, at least not directly. They are being fueled by technology. What the technology expert David Auerbach calls the meganet. He argues that as this digital network connecting everyone and everything around the planet continues to expand at a rate that is neither controllable nor comprehensible by the human mind. The meganet is re-educating us in how to think and how to speak. And this is already fundamentally altering our reality. How so? Auerbach explains that as brilliant as computers are, they are mainly capable of processing quantifiable data. In other words, numbers. Hence the term digital technology. They are not very good at understanding the nuances of human language, at least not yet. In order to do all the amazing things social media and commercial networks like Amazon do for us, they need our data in forms that can be counted. This is why, Auerbach explains, platforms like Facebook have learned to move away from inviting text language input to soliciting instead quantifiable input like likes and emojis. Because while a computer can't easily discern what people think about something by reading complex and nuanced text, it can tell that information by counting thumbs ups and retweets. We probably don't even realize it, but because we're interacting with the meganet constantly and in every corner of our life, it is actually teaching us to speak and think like computers in simplified binary terms. To understand why this is happening, it's worth quoting Auerbach at some length. Here's what he says. As the meganet values crude, more sortable aspects of humanity and human expression, it will condition us all to express ourselves in more regularized, simplistic, and computable ways. Nuanced and implicit forms of human interaction will go by the wayside because they will count for less in the meganet-driven world. A long and complex sentence will disappear in the mass of the meganet, while likes and emojis will help algorithms neatly classify us. Individualized forms of human communication will fade, replaced by standardized means of expression devoid of nuance and creativity. We will find ourselves speaking more robotically, using dumber and more utilitarian means of verbal expression. It will become more difficult to differentiate computer-written texts from human-created ones, not because AI will gain some brilliant capacity for human thought and expression, but because human thought and expression will increasingly become as predictable and superficial as AI-generated text. That's what he says. In short, the exponentially increasing power of technology is teaching us to be less nuanced and less complex in our thinking, and to reflexively categorize ideas, ourselves and others, into simplistic and rigidly defined boxes. All this is apropos as this Shabbat we begin the most digital book in the Torah, the book of Numbers. The opening chapter of this book contains God's instructions to Moses and Aaron on how to take a census of the Israelites, hence the English name of the book, Numbers. But amidst all the counting, the prominent 13th century Rabbi Moses Nachmanides, called a Ramban, takes issue with the idea that God wanted Moses and Aaron simply to process and record data. The Holy One told Moses to count them each with respect and to treat each one of them with the honor due to greatness, says Ramban. He imagines God saying to Moses and Aaron, "You shall not say to the head of the family, 'How many people are there in your family? How many sons do you have?' Rather, they are each to pass before you with awe and in respect, and you shall count them." By this, Ramban means human beings are not numbers, so don't treat them as such. Each human being is complex, nuanced, and sophisticated in his or her own way. Each represents a whole world. To reduce them simply to a tally in a stone or a digit in an algorithm is to obliterate that world. That's what Egypt did when it enslaved us. To turn infinitely complex people into simplistic, computable data is to return to Mitzrayim, the narrow place. But God dwells in the broad place, Bamidbar, which is the Hebrew name for the book of Numbers. And it's where God reveals the Torah to us in the broad open space. Why? Because that's where the human mind and spirit has room to be inquisitive and explore and experiment with ideas and encounter the infinite wisdom humanity has to offer. That's the kind of place our schools should be. In this age of hyperpolarization and proliferating meganets, both of which seek to simplify and reduce the human being and the human experience to crude and narrow data, our schools have to push back against that trend and create expansive learning zones for our children. That's the kind of community I think we aspire to be. And we will never get there by banning books. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
All right. So I'm going to invite Donna G. She's in the chapel this evening. Donna's got a special birthday, I think tomorrow. Come on up, Donna, because we want to offer you a birthday blessing. And as you're coming up, I want to invite all of you to please turn to page 278 in your book and rise, because we will count the Omer, marking these days between Pesach and Shavuot, and then we'll celebrate the counting of Donna's days. Come stand with me, Donna. Come over here. Come on.
L'shem yichud kudsha brichu shchintei הנני מוכן ומזומן לקיים מצוות עשה של ספירת העומר, של ספירת העומר, של ספירת העומר, של ספירת העומר. שבע שבתות תמימות תהיינה, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו של ספירת העומר, על ספירת העומר. היום בארבע יום שהם שישה שבועות ושתי ימים לעומר. ידעי, 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 ידעי,
Today is the 44th day, which is 6 weeks and 2 days of the Omer. Now, we're standing here with Donna. Donna, your birthday's tomorrow, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And is it a big one?
It is a wonderful one. I will be
29.
90 years old.
90 years old tomorrow. Wow. Donna, what an amazing milestone. And we're honored to stand here and celebrate with you and to ask God's blessing on you. May God watch over you and bless you and guide you in love, peace, and good health for another year. And let's. How about, yes, many. Ad mea ve'esrim, to 120. How about a Shehecheyanu, cantors?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kiyemanu v'higiyanu lahazman hazeh.
Mazel tov.
Amen.
Page 282. You're welcome. Turn and face the altar.
So we're gonna just do a call and response excerpt from this Aleinu. It's upon us to return to our hearts. You could stay standing or sit. It's all okay.
If you want to follow along, we're on page 284 in the fourth line from the bottom of the first paragraph.
V'hashevota
V'hashevota
elevavecha
elevavecha
ki Adonai
ki Adonai hu Elohim hu Elohim V'hashevota V'hashevota elevavecha elevavecha ki Adoya ki Havaya hu Elohim hu Elohim v'nema v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz vayom hahu vayom hahu yehyeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
Please be seated. We remember now our loved ones whom death has taken from this world. If you're comfortable and able to do so, I invite you to rise as you hear the name of your loved one read. On this Shabbat, we are in Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning for Sandra Caden, Bobby Rosenzweig, Faye Rothman, and Lynn Schwatt. And we recall the yahrzeits of Lila Carr, Louis Chusmere, Hannah Dobbin, Florence Epstein, Mary Galansky, Carl Gordon, Hannah Gordon, Jerry Gordon, Michael Seth Heller, Selma Huckman, Mary Kaplan, Andy Kaufman, Leona Q. Koppelman, Isidore Sonny Landsberg, Doris Lebo, Ida Edna Bildner Siegel, Philip M. Stone, Leonard Walder, Ada Woolner, Paul Woolner, Harriet Chicky Zuller, Edith Cohen, and Albert Neal Fink. If you're remembering someone whose name wasn't read and you'd like to share it with us, I invite you to do so. Thank you. Thank you, Phil. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. If it's your custom to rise for the Kaddish, I invite you to do so now. We'll turn to page 294 and join together. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Meraba.
Amen.
Ve'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute. Bechayechon uvyamechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala ubizman kariv ve'imru
Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach Le'olam Olmei Almaya.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei dekudasha
Brichu.
Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbichata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen.
Amen.
Yehi shlama rabba min shmaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Amen.
May the one who makes harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all the world. May their memories be for a blessing.
Amen.
And we say together,
Amen.
Amen. Please be seated. All right. Thank you to Cantor Adam and to our guest, Chazan Basia Schechter. It's a delight to have you here, and the music was inspiring. Thank you to Cantor Adam for organizing the evening and putting us all together.
Thank you to all the members of our producers circle who also helped make this evening possible. Thank you very, very much.
Wonderful. I also want to say thank you to our, to our usher, Phil, as always, greeting everybody so warmly.
Phil.
Thank you to the Margaloff family for baking our challah, and to our outstanding bakers, Sharon Freeman, Debbie Sutton, and Hannah Sutton, Roberta Lulav, Ellen Safian, Cheryl Silverstein, Beth Schneider, Linda Diamond, Gloria Landsberg, Donna Letterman, and the Perez family, and Mazel Tov to Noor and Naim, and to your whole family on Noor's Bar Mitzvah this Shabbat. So if you want to contribute to the baking, I think you know what you need to do. You just talk to Joy P. It could not be easier to reach out to Joy P. and just say, hey, Joy, I would like to bake. And all of a sudden, you will find yourself baking for the Oneg, because Joy P. works magic.
Stand up, Joy. Make
All
yourself
right.
known to everybody. There you
Now, following our Kiddush and Motzi, I want to invite you to come downstairs to the atrium and join us for our fourth and final in the series of congregational conversations about prayer, where we're going to talk about the prayer experience tonight. And because this is our last one, I want to say thank you to the task force of our worship committee members who helped to put all of this together and take notes and process the feedback. So we have David Sutton, the chair of our worship committee, and Howard Herman, and Shelley Limmer, and Elaine Springer, and Michael Freeman, and Cantor Adam and myself were a part of this, and I think this has been really worthwhile. And the sessions, I think, have been very informative and interesting and helpful as we go forward in our prayer life. So thank you, and please do come and participate in this last one. I want to invite Noor and Naim to come on up for Kiddush and Motzi, and would you all please rise?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam adorei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'yahava v'ratzon inchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit hu yom techila lemikrai kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim Ivanu v'chata yotanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha b'yahava u'b'ratzon inchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat lechaim.
Take the cover off. Oh, yep.
And take the other cover off.
Go.
Double cover. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Please join us downstairs.
Ki yishmer ha-Shabbat el yishmereini oti le'olmeya beino veini. Ki yishmer ha-Shabbat el yishmereini oti le'olmeya beino veini. ישמר השבת אותי אותי לעולמי עד בינו וביני. Woo! Turn this off. Hold on.
Thank you. That was wonderful. I don't know if you remember, we saw you at Fire Island. My son and his girlfriend, they came out because I cancer. She's a rabbi studying. Yeah, like in July, maybe. Should they come again? Are they coming in? Yeah, he's up in it's a Fire Island. I mean, I don't know. I think our plans are different this summer. But he's been in Newburgh for the year. Oh wow! In upstate. Yeah. No, what's Beth-El, Jacob? And tomorrow, this weekend's his last weekend there. You know, like he's just been Okay, wow. He's graduating? No, this is year 2. He's got 2 more, so. You've got so many years. Come again. It's a pleasure.